Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to be breaking down Titans rookie wide receiver Elic Ayomanor. We're going to take a look at his usage, advanced stats, and then break down some film to get a good idea as to how he's really performing and whether he's potentially a little bit better than the stats show currently. Watch to the end of this video and you should have a pretty good idea how he's actually been performing on the field. And so when we take a look at his profile, being his size and his athleticism, he's actually a very good size-adjusted athlete. So he's 6'2", 206 pounds. Based on that size, without any other information, you might think X wide receiver. Well, that is how he's being deployed at the NFL level for the Titans. Now, he was selected at the end of the 4th round with a comp pick, 34th overall in the 4th round. He's 22 years and 4 months old right now, so still a relatively young wide receiver, obviously being a rookie, but being a rookie doesn't mean you're young. Tyler Shuck exists. But in terms of his athleticism, he is a great athlete, really. He ran a 4.44 40-yard dash, which is 82nd percentile. I do want to say, I don't think he consistently shows really good deep speed and an ability to separate vertically as much as I would like. But I'll show you some of that later in the film. So that's one of those things where a 40-yard dash time, in my opinion, isn't really an incredibly useful data point, because all that really matters is how fast you are on the field and the way in which you're deployed, whether that coincides with success, right? In terms of his speed score, though, it's 89th percentile. That's height and weight adjusted at a 107.5. In terms of his burst, that's his vertical and broad jump. A 129 score is 84th percentile. Didn't do the agility drills. He's not the most agile guy, but he's fine there. And he has a 74th percentile catch radius. And so overall, this guy is a significant athlete. At least that's how he tested at the combine, especially when you size and weight adjust that. And so let's take a look at some of his usage and other advanced stats here. So I took a look at wide receivers with at least 40 or more targets. So it was a sample size of 54, just like I did yesterday with the Keon Coleman video. So Ayomanor has run 292 routes on the season, which is 93.9% of the team routes. He is a starting receiver and he is their X. And one way to know this, and it doesn't necessarily make him an X, but it is true, and you'll see on the film, he's played 17.4% of his snaps in the slot and 82.6% out wide. So basically, for the most part, the same usage within 1% of each of the slot and out wide as Keon Coleman. Now, his yards per out run of 1.11 is 52nd. That is not very good. His PFF receiving grade of 64.5 is 47th. I don't personally pay as much credence to the PFF grades, but once again, like I'll mention time and time again, it's a data point. His yak perception of 3.1 is tied for 46th. Now, he is a vertical X wide receiver. Some of the routes that he runs do lend him to being able to get yards after the catch, but that's not the role of the yak guy in an offense typically. In terms of his missed tackles forced, his 3 are tied for 41st. That kind of goes hand in hand with the usage. Now, his contested catch percentage of 53% is 8 out of 15. That is a solid number. I do think he does display very good hands at times, although I think they're a little bit inconsistent too. In terms of his targets, he has 51 on the season. That's 5.7 per game. Not incredible, not terrible. 26 receptions so far. That's 2.9 per game. Same kind of deal with the lack of volume. Not going to have a ton of receptions. His yards of 323 and 35.9 per game aren't, particularly incredible either. And he has 2 touchdowns on the season, which is 0.22 repeating. And so the stats, and specifically the counting stats, aren't very impressive. And some of these advanced stats here of the yards per out run and the yak perception paint somebody that maybe isn't producing at a high level, but that doesn't necessarily mean that he personally is playing poorly necessarily either, because quarterback play and offensive environment drive basically all of these factors. Further looking at some advanced stats, he has 75 yards after the catch, which is 65th. As an X, a vertical X in the offense, that role in and of itself doesn't typically lend itself to you getting a lot of extra yardage. They're deeper down the field targets a lot of the time, and it's not easy gimme stuff in space. In terms of his unrealized air yards, he has 437. That's 10th in the NFL. Now, why does he have these unrealized air yards? Is it his own fault? Is it Cam Ward's fault? Other factors? We'll take a look at the film later and deduce what the reasoning is for that. In terms of his target separation, his 1.04 yards are 88th, Once again, he is a vertical X. A lot of the linear deep routes in which you run don't really lend to a lot of target separation unless you are just a true burner like Jamison Williams. His dominator rating of 29.2% is 19th in the NFL. So that's his market share of the yards and touchdowns. That's actually a good number. And it really just speaks to the anemic state and, total offense in and of itself, in my opinion. His catchable target rate is 67.9%. That's 62nd in the NFL. That is not a good number. Once again, he's not getting a ton of the gimme routes in the role in which he's being asked to run as the number one wide receiver in the offense. And also the motion rate of 3.7% also coincides with that. That's 141st. As the X, you are stagnant on the line of scrimmage, typically facing press man coverage a solid amount of the time. So that motion rate makes sense and kind of is explained by the role in the offense. His deep target share of 40% is 17th in the NFL. That is a great number. We like that. That's going to lead to explosive plays if, the passes are caught. The red zone target share of 22.7% is 30th. That's not a terrible number either. His air yard share of 685 is 21st. That's a solid number. We like that. His air yard share of 29.8% is 37th. Solid number. His ADOT of 12.9 is 25th in the NFL. That's pretty solid ADOT. He does get some easier work down in the short area of the field, but a lot of his routes are run deep. His deep targets of 10 are 26th in the NFL. I'd hope that would be a little bit higher given the amount of volume in which they have to have every week, passing basically for the majority of every game. And his red zone targets of 5 is 45th, and that's not a particularly great number. I also would have hoped that would have been higher based on the volume. But so on the surface, the counting stats aren't that impressive. Some of the efficiency stats aren't particularly great either, but that doesn't necessarily mean that he isn't playing well. There's a lot more that goes into that, and we need to understand the context behind some of these stats. I think a big thing we need to pay attention to and try to deduce from the film we're going to watch here is, why does he have 437 unrealized air yards? That's 10th in the NFL. Is it his fault? Is it Cam Ward's fault? A combination of both, other factors? Let's take a look at the film and see what we can deduce. And I want to give a special shout out to my Patreon members. Thank you to Big Hunt, SP, Mage Jack, Infamy MTG, AOYOB, and The Dawn. Without your support, this would not be possible. As you're probably well aware if you've been watching my videos for a while, I cannot get monetized because of the film breakdowns I do, and even just the little videos I have where I have clips of plays in them. They get demonetized every single time, making it therefore impossible to collect any revenue. So obviously your support is greatly appreciated. And if you are so inclined to become a member, the perks would be you will get access to a private Discord where we have both a real life and fantasy football chat, as well as a voice chat if you just don't want to have to type a bunch of stuff. I'll also give you detailed roster breakdowns and roster reviews where we talk about the strengths and weaknesses of your team. Then we kind of break it down further by looking into the scoring settings themselves and the starting lineup requirements to help you build the best team to help you dominate for years to come. In both Dynasty and then in Redraft, obviously, I'd help you with a good solid game plan, especially if you know where you're drafting from. Then also give you detailed trade advice based on your specific league settings to help you dominate. Also give you access to private live streams and the ability to not only see videos at least one day early, but also the ability to suggest videos that you would like to be created. So if you would like to support the channel, I would really appreciate it. If not, just please like and subscribe. Let's get back to the video. Taking a look at the first play I'm going to show you here, Elic is going to be running an out. You're going to get a whip route from the slot here, and then you're going to get double outs from the right side. And then the running back is going to leak out to the flat. As far as the Broncos, they are going to be in a cover 3. So you'll have your 3 deep third defenders, you'll have your flats, and then you'll have your hook zones over the middle of the field. And so on this, I want you to pay attention to how Elic is going to attack the cornerback, hit him with some foot fire and a very sharp cut to get to the outside. Very nice stuff. And this is his first game. So boom, boom, boom. He's going to create the separation, catch the ball, get to the ground, secure the grab, not get hit, convert the play. Good job by him. And this is against Riley Moss, who he does not get the respect he deserves. He has played incredibly well this season. I do think it's, it obviously helps having Pat Surtain there, having a good defense in general, one of the best. But this is no slouch of a cornerback that he's going up against in his first game. All right, same game here. This is going to be a negative. So he's supposed to be running a slant, but he's going to have to kind of flatten the slant because of an incoming defender. It's supposed to be a play where he's going to be able to create a natural pick for the guy in the flat here, and it's going to be mirrored on this side as well. And then you're going to get your tight end posting up in the middle of the field. As far as the defense, are going to be in cover one man, and so you'll have man coverage throughout, with a deep middle field safety, and then this linebacker is going to be blitzing along with the rest of the defensive line here. So they're going to get immediate pressure from this blitzing linebacker. So Cam Ward's going to have to get the ball out in a hurry. So he's going to aim for Elic right here. But here is the issue. He is going to drop a pass that is going to hit him straight in the hands. And it's going to hang up and almost get intercepted. And so I like that he gets off the press. I like that he flattens his route to avoid a collision to make himself available. I like that he's already turned around to see, if Cam Ward's in trouble, if he's targeting him. Everything up to this point is fine. Great, actually. Going to hit him straight in the hands, hang up in the air, and once again, very fortunate that this is not intercepted. And so obviously, I don't think this really needs to be repeated, but you have to hang on to a football that hits you square in the hands. There is a receivers coach. There is going to be no excuse under the sun to excuse a drop like that. Taking a look at another game, his second NFL game, he is going to be running a back shoulder fade right here. I want to say this route was spectacular. Everything about it. As far as this side of the field, you're going to get a crosser, you're going to get tight end spotting up, and then you're going to get a corner from this receiver. As far as the defense, they're going to be in a cover 3 where you're going to have your 3 deep third defenders, and you'll have your underneath coverage. So, like I said, pay attention to the release off the line of scrimmage. The footwork is brilliant. The separation that he creates naturally without even any physicality is beautiful. This is good stuff on tape. And so look at the hesitation off the line, and then boom, boom, boom. And now he's going to get a subtle shove, and he's going to turn around for the football, catch it with both hands, secure it, turn away from the cornerback right here so that there's no way he gets his mitts in there and knocks the ball out. And then he's just going to fight for, a little bit of extra yardage. It's not really the kind of play, that sets you up well for yak. So, understand that. But really good release off the line of scrimmage. I like the pacing of the route too. The subtle shove to get just a little bit extra separation, making himself available for the quarterback, leaving enough space in between him and the sideline for him to fit this ball into. Everything about this route is perfect. Like I mentioned earlier, turning away from him so that there's no way he can get his glove in there and, hit the ball out. Really good stuff from Elic. And same game, we're going to have the exact same play, but it's going to be mirrored. So you're going to get a fade right here. You're going to get a little stop. You're going to get a crosser. You're going to get a corner. And then you're going to get the running back leaking out. As far as the Rams, they're once again going to be in cover 3, but you're going to get a match coverage, so acting in man right here. But he's technically a deep third. You'd have a deep third. You'd have a deep third. You'd have a flat. You'd have a flat. And then you'd have 2 hook zones over the middle of the field as well. So it's essentially against man because of how he's going to play him here. But look at the same thing. Excellent hesitation off the line of scrimmage to jump up and attack the cornerback, to confuse him, potentially take advantage of some leverage, force him on his back foot. It gets him the angle that he needs to extend past the cornerback. He's going to track the ball really well in the air, catch it over the defender, get his feet in, hold through, complete the process of the catch, and really good stuff from him on film here. All right, same game. Here we have a touchdown from Elic. He's going to be running what was supposed to be an out, but he's going to get caught up in traffic and have to redirect and scramble drill. You're going to get The tight end leaking out to the flat, you're going to get a shallow cross. It kind of turns into a drive up through the end zone. You're going to get a dig as well. And then after initially a helping block, Pollard's going to slip out into the middle of the field. As far as the Rams, they're going to be in quarters coverage or cover 4. And so you will have your zone coverage underneath and over the top your quarters. They're going to find their man, though, and eventually kind of turn this into a man. And it's going to really turn into a scramble drill for Cam Ward as he runs for his life and tries to create on the run. And this is going to be one of the things, where with Cam Ward, where this guy attempts some risky passes. And sometimes, as a coach, you would be saying, oh, no, yes. And this is one of those plays. And shout out to Elic for working with him in scramble drill. So as you can see, it's congested. There's 2 people here that the route's just not going to work. At this point, Cam Ward's just kind of working his way back into the pocket over here, trying to figure out what he's going to do. Really, he could have potentially run for a significant amount of yardage to the left. There is nobody there. But Cam Ward, being the gunslinger he is going to extend the play. Now, at this stage, Elic is right here. He is going to start to work towards this side of the field where there is nobody, while Cam Ward is also going to notice this. And he's going to throw on the run. He's going to throw on the run across his body. And just this pass should not happen. I like that Elic also runs back to the football, attacks it in the air, comes down with it, obviously. Good working with Cam Ward and scramble drill. But as a coach, this throw and decision making would be absolutely terrifying. And so, yeah, extremely risky pass. But nonetheless, in the end, the result is the result. It's a touchdown. Good working with Cam Ward and scramble drill by Elic right there, and results in a touchdown. Taking a look at the next play I'm going to show you, it's a touchdown once again by Elic. He's once again lined up as the X receiver. So what he's going to run is he's going to run this. It's like a little, it's supposed to appear on the surface as though it's going to be a corner, but he's going to stop, right? You're going to get Pollard out to the flat. You're getting Ridley in motion right now. He's going to go and run across over the middle. You're going to get a dig from this receiver, and then the tight end's going to leak out to the flat. As far as the Colts are going to be in cover 2, so you have your flat, you'll have your short zones over the middle, your flat again, and then you'll have your 2 high coverage. And so theoretically, if Cam Ward had more time or couldn't find anything in the play, something in the middle could have been open. Sidelines or middles generally where you're going to attack cover 2. But Elic's route is going to be successful here, and he is going to display good hands, get down, secure the football, touchdown. Boom. Good stuff. It's really nice to see early on in his career him establishing a connection with his rookie quarterback, Cam Ward. Are you starting to recognize this play? I think you might at some point if you haven't at this point. As far as the Texans, though, they're going to be in quarters or cover 4. This cornerback, Lassiter, who's very, very talented, by the way, is going to be acting in match, but he technically would be, a deep quarter. And then you would have your underneath coverage as well. On this play, I really like the way he gets off the line of scrimmage and then positions himself for the slot fade. Now, it is going to be incomplete because the coverage is just insane. The Texans' defense is no joke, and Lassiter does not get the credit he deserves, much like Riley Moss I mentioned earlier. But despite it being incomplete, there are definitely positives about this. So I like how he jumps. It's kind of reminiscent of Devontae Adams off the line of scrimmage. And then he attacks the leverage, gets in front of him, positions himself to have space for this back shoulder fade over here. Once again, I'm a big fan of the spatial awareness here. And unfortunately, he's going to try to go up for it. The ball could have been a little bit higher, to be honest. Lassiter is going to get his arm in there. So, a good play by the defense. But I love how he gets off the line of scrimmage here, attacks the leverage of the cornerback, and then positions himself. Boom, get the positioning, give your quarterback some space. Unfortunately, the ball's a little bit low and really good coverage by Lassiter once again. But definitely positives to take away from that play. Taking a look at this play, Elic's actually going to be in the slot for this rep. He's going to be running a little bit of a longer curl route. You're going to get a short curl, seam route, and then you're going to get a whip route from the slot on that side. As far as the Texans, they are going to be in quarters coverage once again. So you're going to have your 4 deep quarter defenders. You're going to have your underneath coverage. You're going to have your hook zone. And then you're going to also have one of the linemen drop back in coverage as well. And so Elic is going to find the soft spot in the zone. And I'll explain what I like about this and what's not great about this as the play goes on. And so he's going to hike the ball. Now he's going to avoid the jam by the zone defender here. And watch what he does. He does what he should do. Slip up and post right behind him. Cam Ward had to step up in the pocket due to the pass rush because, yeah, the Texans defense is that insane. Now, Cam Ward is running to the right. Elic should, in my opinion, stay put exactly where he is to provide a stationary target for Cam Ward, but he kind of drifts a little bit to the inside, and so Cam doesn't know that he's going to do that, and so he throws it where he is while on the run, and it's going to end up behind Elic. It's going to hit Elic in the hands once again, except this time, unlike the first clip I showed you, despite it hanging up in the air in the first one and it not being intercepted, Stingley is going to take advantage of this. Now, one thing I do like, even though he drifted off a little bit and it caused the pass to be behind him, it hit him straight in the hands. Although, to be fair, you're catching it behind you with your fingertips. That's a very difficult catch. I definitely couldn't make that. And it does end up getting intercepted. Watch him. He is going to chase Stingley, try to punch the ball out, and secure the tackle. I don't know how many times I could tell you I've seen on film when I do these film breakdowns when plays end up in interceptions where the receiver that's in the area doesn't even make the least bit of effort to make a tackle, let alone try to punch the ball out and then secure a tackle. So while I like the initial thought to slip right behind the zone defender to create the most amount of separation between you and the defenders around you in zone coverage, I do wish he wouldn't have drifted a little bit. Obviously, it kind of results in him, the ball being behind him, it hitting him in the hands, getting intercepted. But once again, the effort to get up, chase him down, try to punch the ball out, and when that doesn't work, at least secure the tackle. Now, on this route, Elic is going to be running a shallow cross. You're going to get a deep corner, you're going to get an out, and then you're going to get another corner from the tight end. This is actually a blitz and a good pre-play deception, if I could say that correctly. You're going to get a blitz off the right side. You're going to get cover 1 man, despite it being initially showing a 2 shell here. But what I want to highlight here is the physicality. So he's once again at the bottom of your screen. So he's going to get a little bit delayed because he's going to help chip the edge defender here. So I like that as well. Then he's going to break off. Now he's going to run into number 7 here on purpose. He's going to kind of shoulder him a little bit and then push off just slightly. It's going to cause the defender to trip. He's going to catch the ball with both hands and work immediately as a ball carrier up the field. Exactly what we want to see. He's not dynamic. He's not, Malik Neighbors or Jamar Chase, with the ball in his hands by any means. But, I like the toughness, chip the edge defender, work your route, work into the cornerback to kind of create a little bit of physical separation, get both hands on the football, turn into a ball carrier right away, get additional yardage. Just everything that you would want from a wide receiver, he displayed in this play. And here we have an example of you need to just finish the play. So Elic is right here. He is going to be running a deep corner. You're going to get a short out, and you're going to get a flat as well. And so it's going to be a flood. There are no routes that you're going to get max protect along the offensive line here and the tight end. So it's only a 3-man route. The Colts are going to be blitzing most of their players. You're going to get some of these defenders here backing up into zone coverage. It's going to be you're going to get this safety dropping down, and you're going to get this turning into kind of a cover 2 zone on this side of the field. And so this is a good concept to attack it because there's not going to be enough zone defenders on this side to account for all 3 levels. And it's going to work exactly how they wanted it to work, except Elic is going to just stop running. And it could have been a long touchdown. We're talking, what, about, 85 yards? And so Elic is right here. He is going to find himself in a wide open space here. This safety is dropping down to try to take away this. This flat cornerback is trying to play to either one of these to try to take away both at the same time. Cam Ward is going to step up in the pocket. He sees that Ayomanor should be wide open. He's going to be aggressive, attack deep down the field, except Elic just stopped running his route. So that's what happens when you stop running your route. Could have had a wide open touchdown. And I want to end on a positive note. So we're going to have Elic at the top of your screen. He's going to be running a little in. You're going to get a corner from this guy. You're going to get this guy working over the middle of the field, and then you're going to get a dig on the backside as well. As far as the Colts are concerned, they're going to be in cover 3. So you're going to have your 3 deep third defenders, your robber underneath, and then also some underneath coverage here. So Elic is going to find a soft spot in the zone, but that is not what I want to show here per se exactly. That's great too. I like, first of all, he's going to see the defender in his line where he'd be running his route, so he's going to adjust the depth of his route just slightly, but still. He's going to spot up in the hole in the zone, catch the ball, and immediately turn into a runner. And look at the effort after the catch. Spin, 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 try to get extra yardage. He's technically an above average athlete if you take a look at, some of the combine and athleticism scores, but I wouldn't exactly describe him, as a dynamic athlete. By NFL standards, he's obviously much more of an athlete than I'll ever be. But what I do like is he makes the most of what he has. And I really like the grit that he shows on some of these plays. And so overall, I was pretty impressed by his releases off the line of scrimmage, especially on some of those fade routes. I like his positioning. I like the pacing of his routes. He does display some pretty good hands on those drop. He had that one egregious drop, I'll give you that, where he had to adjust that slant. And then, the one where he was spotting up on that little bit of an elongated curl, and then he didn't really stay in place for Cam Ward. He kind of drifted, and then it caused the pass to be behind him. But, after the play, finding Derek Stingley, trying to punch the ball out and then securing the tackle, I really like the effort on some of those plays. And then there's other plays, where, for instance, on that deep corner route where he just stopped running his route in the middle of the play and he could have had an 85-yard touchdown. So it's a bit of a mixed bag. I really like, especially earlier on, I showed you where he was working with Cam Ward in scramble drill. And that's one of these things that he's going to have to learn. And I think he's going to have a future in the NFL for sure. No doubt about it. And I do think that he's arguably the best receiver on the Titans right now. But, you got to understand, with Cam Ward, a play is basically never over. He's a gunslinging, improvising quarterback. He'll find a way to extend the play. He has no fear. He will attack any part of the field that he can actually get the ball to. And he'll even try it if maybe he can't do it. I mean, you saw that scramble drill where he was, he threw it cross body over 2 defenders to find Elic, who was working from the right side of the field to the left. But I do think the Titans are going to invest in a true wide receiver 1. So I really don't think that he has what it takes necessarily to be, a true dominant number 1 wide receiver. But I really do think that he could develop into a very good number 2 for this offense. And it's really good for him and Cam Ward that they're both rookies and that they're establishing this connection. I think that's going to benefit both of them in the long term. And if you're a Titans fan, I think you got to steal with Elic Ayomanor. But what do you guys think? Do you agree, disagree? Let me know below in the comments section. I'm curious to see what you think about this, because coming into this, I was unsure as to what I was going to see, but I really liked and was encouraged by a significant amount of what I saw in film here. And I think some of the mistakes are just mistakes that can be cleaned up. But yeah, let me know what you think. And once again, if you would like to and you could, I would really appreciate it if you would support me via Patreon. I'm trying to do this full time now. And so your support would be greatly appreciated. And if you cannot or do not wish to, if you could just like the video, leave a comment below, subscribe to the channel, that would greatly help me out. And so, yeah, I hope you appreciate the video. Thanks, guys, and I'll see you next time.